All right. Hello, everyone. I hope this is working. I hope that my tech setup that I don't know, I'm trying a new thing with this. I don't live stream much, if ever. So let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I would appreciate knowing that. I should point out that there is a bit of a delay between me actually saying something and it showing up. So if I don't react instantly to something you say in the chat, then that is why. But yeah, let me know if you can hear me. And I'd also love to know where in the world everyone is watching from, because I don't know, that's exciting. I don't know about you, but I've been enjoying live content a lot lately during this isolation, quarantine time, whatever you want to call it. I think it's like the added bit of human connection where we know right now, right now, this is what I'm sitting here doing. And I don't know, I just think that's cool. So I'm excited to be live streaming, and if this goes well, I'm excited to do more of it, I guess, especially now that I've got all the tech worked out, because it looks like you can hear me, you can see me, and wow, we've got a lot of different countries around the world. That is very, very cool. I'm excited to answer all your design questions today. We can talk about your career, we can talk about, I don't know, any specific projects that you're working on and like wanting to know how to handle a certain situation. Anything you like. If you'd like to share links to your portfolio for a quick first impression portfolio review, that would be cool too. I have a little setup that I hope is going to work that I can share my screen during this stream as well. So that'll be fun. Before anyone drops their portfolio links in the chat though, I know we had some questions beforehand. By the way, my computer's over here. So when you see me not looking at you, that's what I'm looking at. I am technically looking at you because I'm looking at your questions. But before anyone drops a portfolio link in, if you would like to do that, if you want portfolio feedback, there's a bit of context that I need in order to give you feedback. So me just looking at your website with no understanding of what you're aiming for with it, like what your goals are with your portfolio, isn't going to help at all. For example, if you've seen my website, you know that I don't really have a lot of my work on there. And if someone was reviewing that, thinking that I was wanting to use this website to land the next job in my career, the feedback they would give me is very different to the feedback they would give if they knew my actual goal, which is to be sharing my content and be increasing my reputation as a designer. So yeah, if you want to share your portfolio and get some feedback on it, definitely happy to do that. That'd be really exciting. But you have to let me know what you're aiming for when you share that link. So what the next step in your career is that you want to take, what industry, what field it's in, what level you're at too might be helpful. And then I can do an initial review of it, just like someone on a hiring panel would be. Because I've hired designers before, and when we do that, when we're going through applications, you open up a portfolio and you make a decision very quickly on if this is someone who you want to move forward further in the process. So yeah, could be helpful. I'm going to scroll back up through this chat. Wow, there is a lot of countries still coming in here. We've got Morocco, we've got Canada, Argentina, Poland, Netherlands, Knoxville, Tennessee, Barcelona. We've got a lot of the world covered. That's very exciting. To all of my New Zealand friends who told me that the stream is happening at 4 a.m. their time, so they can't join, I'm very sorry. But I know a lot of them said they're going to rewatch later. So shout out to the Kiwis who are currently probably asleep. Okay, where should we start? Which question shall I start with? I'm glad there is actually questions coming through, because my fear with doing this was that I'd be there and everyone would be excited to talk live, but no one would actually have any questions. So I don't think that's going to be our problem today, which is a good thing. Let's start off with, I'm just going to go back up to the top. Okay. So Agnesi, please excuse me if I say your name wrong too, by the way, has asked, which platform do you recommend for a job search, and are there any red flags to look out for with that? If I were searching for a job these days, I think I would look on Dribbble, I would look on Authentic Jobs, on We Work Remotely, those sorts of job sites, rather than going straight to Indeed, or I don't even know off the top of my head what any of the other huge job sites are. I would look in those places first, because I feel like those are the places that the companies I would want to work for are most likely to be advertising. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm going to be sorting through less, I don't know how to say it in any other way than crap, in order to find a job at a company that fit with what I was looking for. So that would be where I'd head first. As for red flags, I would look out for any of the language where they talk about like ninjas and I don't know, code wizard or like genius designer is what they're looking for. Like, just no, that doesn't sound like the type of job that I would want to have if that's the language they're using. So that's what I personally would look out for. Yes. Okay, wait on. Someone's saying that they can't share their portfolio link in the chat. Is there another way? Okay, how about if the chat's not letting you send a link, because I didn't realize that was going to be a thing, go ahead and DM me on Twitter at Charlie Prangley, in case you don't. I'll drop that in the chat right now, in case. Excuse me while I noisily type. There we go. Send your portfolios there instead, and I'm sorry that you can't leave a link. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, I'm also sorry, by the way, that I'm not going to catch everybody's questions, because there's more people here than I expected, which is a great thing, but yeah, does mean we got a lot of questions. Okay, Myra says, my question is, where do you start when you want to start to create value and share, but you do not consider yourself an expert? I don't know why you put that in quote marks, and you don't have an audience where you can test an idea. Okay, great question. So my philosophy comes from my company's philosophy, but how do I explain this? I feel like this is something I've been doing the whole time I've been making content. It's just that I only could put words to it when I joined ConvertKit. So we have a value of teach everything you know, right? And what this means isn't that it's teach everything you know, first of all. So you're not teaching things you don't know. You're not pretending to be someone you're not, or, making things up. But there is always going to be someone who is just a few steps behind you in their journey, in learning design, in whatever it is you're wanting to teach. So you can always have something to teach them. You don't have to be the expert in order to share something useful. I think that my YouTube channel in the beginning took off because I was taking that approach, and Femke, my podcast co-host, she's here in the chat. Shout out to Femke. Our mission behind our podcast is to speak to our peers. We're not pretending we know everything. We're just talking about like what we're facing at the time. And every now and then we're able to give advice on things that we've learned throughout our journeys. So I definitely think you have value to share, whether you like realize it or not. You don't have to be an expert. So just think of something you've learned recently and pass that knowledge along. I think that's a great way to think about it. And you don't need to have an audience before you do that. You will build the audience by sharing that. So just get started. That is my advice. Okay, what are the next question? Okay, how hard was it for you to learn coding, and what steps did you take? Good question. So I learned a bit of code in university. It was the first time I really touched HTML and CSS. And then throughout my career, I've kind of always dabbled in code to work on my own website. Always been building sites for myself pretty much. Actually, most of my sites have been hard coded by me. Once I used Squarespace, and now I use Webflow, obviously, which is a no-code solution. But yeah, that was where I did most of my learning, was just by having a problem that I needed to solve. The problem was needing my own site. And so I would just Google things and figure it out to learn it. Then when I joined ConvertKit and I needed to be the person bringing my web designs to life on our marketing site, I knew I had to knuckle down and get serious about learning, because my haphazard approach wasn't going to work on a site where there's hundreds of thousands of visitors, coming to it. That just sounded like a recipe for disaster. So what I did was go to Treehouse. They're a great online code school. I can put a link in the description to this later or whatever if you want, or you can just Google it. But they have a really great series of courses, and I found that a really great way to learn, because they had tests that you would do. So you're not only learning the concepts, but you're also testing them out. And that's how I learn best, is by actually doing it. Things do not sink in my brain until I've actually tried it out and done it for myself. So I think it helped me to have an actual project to work on, especially when I was working on my own sites, and to be practical based learning suits me well. Let's see if we've got some portfolios through. Okay, we have some portfolios through. Should we do that next, or should we do a couple more just talky questions next? Let's do some talky questions. I wish there was a way for me to highlight just the questions and not the the other things in the chat. But keep putting the other things in the chat because that's great too. Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay, this is a good one. I follow people, hey Charlie, I follow people for insight into various topics. For example, you for design. Hello Ashley, thank you for following me for design inspiration. Wondering if you could share some of your favorite influences or sites for design and development inspiration lately. Good question. I feel like I don't really follow people for design and development inspiration as such. I kind of like gather it from a bunch of different places, but a few people who I love for this, one is Ran Segal. He is Flux on YouTube. You've probably seen his channel before. I think he's great. And yeah, he does a great job at sharing his work. I follow a lot of people on Dribbble. You can head to my Dribbble profile. I think you can see who I follow anyway. But Unfold are a design agency who actually we hired to rebrand ConvertKit a few years ago when we rebranded. And they are constantly putting out amazing work on Dribbble, and it's all like real client projects for the most part too. So that's really cool. And yeah, I think they're super creative, and that always inspires me a lot to look at. So those are two, I suppose, that I would say. Abdullah asked, do you use Webflow for clients? I do not, because I do not work with clients. I'll probably avoid answering most of the freelance projects questions in this chat too, because fun fact about me is I don't do freelance work anymore. I did one project last year, and that was the first freelance project I'd done for quite a long time. It's just, I don't know, just not what I'm interested in doing. I feel like I get my fill of designing from my day job, and when I'm like in my spare time, I want to be creating still, but I don't want to be working on design projects for other people. So yeah, I like to fill it doing YouTube videos, working on my font that I'm working on. I saw someone mention in the chat that they were excited to see. Yeah, those sorts of things is what I prefer to spend my time on than client projects. So I forgot what I said the original question was. Oh, do you use Webflow for clients? No, I do not, because of that reason. Okay. How to choose the correct UX research methodology? I do not know if I could tell you a single UX research methodology. I'm just going to say that up front. Guess what? Hasn't impacted my career at all that I don't know that, by the way. So, you know, judge if you want to, but I'm doing just fine without it. Yeah, don't know is my answer to that. I'm sorry. Okay, what else we got? What do you think about self-taught designers? I think self-taught designers are amazing. And I know I saw another question earlier up that I cannot quite find now, but was about what should I do if I don't want to go to design school? I think it's amazing to be self-taught because personally I did not have the discipline for that when I was getting started in design. Maybe I would now, but I think I only learned that discipline because I went to university and I went through getting a degree and I learned how to learn, if that makes sense. If you know how to do that without going to university, without spending all that money and that time, then more power to you. I think that's awesome. I think every designer, even once they finish design school, we're still learning. And so all of us are partially self-taught. You know, I haven't taken a design course for a very long time, 8 or 9 years by now. And I'm still learning and still developing my skills all the time. So yeah, we're all self-taught in a way, and I think it's really cool. I think that there was another question about getting a job as a self-taught designer, and I'll just say, and hopefully this helps to ease your mind or whatever, that when I'm hiring designers, as I've done a few times now, being through the hiring process, I'm not really looking at what schools they went to at all. Maybe you'll glance at and see it on a CV, but there's a lot of schools that I don't know because we're mostly hiring people in the US. And so I'm I don't know if this university is fancier than this one or whatever. It means nothing to me. I don't know if this has a good reputation for design school or, whatever is going on there. But all I can judge on is the quality of the work. So yeah, if going to design school helps you to get better quality work in your portfolio, then that's great. But if you can do that in other ways through getting experience, teaching yourself, then that's great too. And that's really the thing that matters when we're looking at portfolios and hiring a designer. I think any company that requires a degree, I don't know. I think that's just the wrong approach these days. should I learn design fundamentals before designing? I think you're going to find it hard to design without learning design fundamentals, to be honest. Like, you'll probably start designing and be frustrated that you can't like get the vision out of your head, or that it just looks off, you know, and design fundamentals are probably going to be the answer as to why it's not looking as high quality as you would have hoped. So yeah, just saying that. Take the time to learn about typography, learn about layout, learn about grids, positive, negative space, balance, all that sort of stuff. Applies literally no matter what you're designing, I promise you. Okay, let's jump over into a few portfolios now, because I'm excited to see if my screen sharing setup works. And I'll just sort of work through some DMs. Give me a second to get this set up. How are we all going? Are we enjoying this? I feel like I'm having fun, and I hope you're having fun too. All right, so I'm seeing a DM here from Rudolph, who's sent your portfolio through, but you haven't said any context around it, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be looking for. Feel free to like re-DM if you'd like, but like I said at the start, maybe you missed it. Excuse me while I take a drink and not cough loudly. I need to have the context before I can give you any sort of review. Okay. We have one from Carolyn, and let's click on your portfolio. I know you can't see the screen yet, don't panic, I haven't changed the thing over. But we're gonna change it over right now-ish, and let's see if it works. Okay, are we seeing a portfolio? I think we're seeing a portfolio. That's exciting, right? Cool. So Carolyn says that you are early career product designer, okay? I'm wanting some advice on how you can get your portfolio to the next level and what you should or shouldn't include in case studies. Looking for my next UX design opportunity as a junior. Cool. So like I said, I'm not going to be like doing a deep dive and reading all your case studies, etc. in this, but I'll be doing a cursory look just as someone who is looking through your portfolio in a job application would. So first of all, the color at the top is really cool. This seems super unique, so I like that. You're San Diego-based product designer exploring intersections of design thinking and design doing with cross-collaborative teams. Okay, I'll say that like, I don't know if I quite get what you're all about from that statement, but you're using some good words, and I like the play on design thinking and design doing, so that's cool. All right, the next thing I'm going to click on, because usually I would like click into a piece of work next, is this one that's catching my eye with this orange background. So let's go in here. Are we still seeing everything? I can't believe this is working. This is very cool. All right, so my eye jumped straight to the responsibilities part. And you led the facilitation of a design sprint and contributed to research. So this, I'm not sure if you designed anything as part of this, if that makes sense. Ooh, this is nice. These animations, that, yep, stands out, looking cool. Do you see how I just scrolled past this bit right here? That's because that's exactly what I would do in like a reviewing your application situation. All I'm seeing is, okay, yep, you did some user profiling things. You looked at what the goals were. It'd be cool if these were a bit bolder so that it was easier for me to scan them. Scannability is huge when it comes to your portfolio and like that initial review. Ugh, it's not fun to watch someone drink on a live stream, is it? But I'm going to need to keep doing that. Okay, assumptions, okay. And then you did some testing. Do you see how I'm just scanning the headings? Like, I'm telling you people, this is why scannability is so important. This is really nice how you've got this animation stuff going on here. This, like, isn't just decorative as well. It's like, it tells me that you have an attention to detail and that you're taking the time to do cool things like that. Yeah, just like that coming in. I will say this is feeling quite long. Okay, then we get to a iteration. Cool. This is good. This lessons learned, I think, is really important for the early stage in your career. I just saw that Anton in the chat said, take a shot whenever Charlie drinks. Go ahead if you want to, but I do not condone that because I'm going to be needing to drink a lot. Okay, and then I like that you've got more work I can go into straight after this. So I would say based on what I've seen here, I would move you forward to the next step if that helps. I think some things that could help is, well, I guess you've got it here. Maybe showing me what you did just in like more tag view when on here, so that I know, okay, if I'm wanting to see what your visual design skills are, I guess I'd probably click on this one because it looks to be the most visually designed. And then we've got, oh, that was interesting. Yep. Cool, solo project. Yeah, I think that's great. I would just say like the more you can do to increase the scannability, the better. Make it clear which is the most important information for me to look at. Yeah. Right, next up, let's go to which one should we go into next? Okay. Oh, I'm opening it in the wrong tab, excuse me. Yeah, thanks for sharing your portfolio, Carolyn. I hope that was useful. Let me know if you have any specific follow-up questions, but yeah, I think you're gonna do great. Okay, so this is Rahida, and Rahida says, I want to send you a link to my portfolio. I'm looking for my first product design job, so feedback on content or visuals would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so early in your job, product designer based in Maryland, interested in design and accessibility. Okay, so I see these like big brand names, and knowing that you're early, like looking for your first job, I'm surprised to see this. So now I'm going to click in and be like, are these real or are these like mock projects? Let's see. Let's see here. I feel like it's not clear. Like this is what I'm looking for. And it doesn't matter if it's like a mock project, but I just appreciate knowing what your experience actually is, you know. I have a feeling that it's not, but like this is a really impressive detailed thing anyway. So don't be afraid to write up the top to let me know if this is like, hey, I was using the app and I saw this as a problem, and so I decided that I was going to attach work on a issue for it. Sorry, I keep looking at the chat while I'm talking, and then, you know, that's never a good experience. I'll stop doing that. Yeah, don't be afraid to let us know that. There's like, you're not gonna fool anyone further down the process into thinking you worked at Uber or didn't or whatever. So yeah, it's fine to say, I just decided that I wanted to do this. And if you did do like an internship at Uber or something, then call that out too, because that's great as well. I like the detail that you've given, and having this headings is important. So yeah, brainstorming how you decided on a solution. I like that you've bolded words here. Like I said, in an initial stage, I wouldn't be reading everything, but it like seems like you have a good level of communication, which is really important, especially at ConvertKit, because we're a remote company, so communication is huge. But yeah, that's great. And it's showing me, okay, that you can have, you tested some options out. I think that I would want to, like, maybe we could do a bit better with the visual design of these things here, just to, I don't know, anything you have in your portfolio is a chance to show people your design skills, right? And I feel like I would want to see the final things closer up. If I click on this, will it let me? Well, kind of, but not really. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a note to have, is just let me see the details in a bit more detail, I guess. Again, outcome and lessons learned is a good thing to include. So that's my feedback for you, is that I'm not sure, like I said, if this is a real project or not. So that would be my only concern there. And like I said, don't be afraid to make it be known that it is a mock project. That's okay. Okay. What have we got next? What have we got next? We are going to Debita's portfolio. Also, anyone in the chat can feel free to give feedback at the same time too, you know, why not? Oh, I just saw someone say that is anyone else's feed cutting in and out randomly? I hope it's not. No offense, Danielle, but I hope it is just you. But yeah, let me know if something's happening here. I'm not sure what I would do about it, but I can try and do something. Okay, so we've got Debita's portfolio. Debita says that they're interested in getting into marketing design. Woo! That is my area. So maybe I can be more helpful in this portfolio than the UX stuff. Yeah, that's the thing too, is that I'm not, like, I do UX as part of designing websites, obviously, but I'm not a UX product designer. So it is, I suppose, a little harder for me to judge those portfolios in a lot of detail. Anyway, interested in getting into marketing design. Is there any quick win I can add to my portfolio to begin the transition? Okay. Is there anything specific that someone hiring a marketing designer would look for that isn't present in my portfolio? I just feel really excited about this question because I'm like, okay, I know for sure I can help on here. I'm not too sure if I did a great job of helping on the last two questions. Sharon says, would it be right to leave a portfolio link here? You can try, Sharon, but apparently links are not showing in the chat. So yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so wait, there was one more thing that Debita said. Specifically, I would love to work with a team that is looking to use Webflow to build out pages quickly in a marketing team instead of sending to back-end devs. Fair enough. So looking at this, freelance Webflow developer, helping mission-driven brands, blah, blah, blah. So I would say, first off, if you're looking for a job specifically as a marketing designer, you need to change this language. Yeah, if it is marketing design that you want to do, and make sure that it's known that design is first and foremost in your mind, then change this up for sure and call yourself a marketing designer, because that's like, if I was hiring for a marketing designer, which might be a thing I get to do coming up, like if not this year, then next, which will be exciting, then I don't know if I would move you forward to the next round based on this, because I'd be like, well, you haven't said you're a designer. I'm hiring a designer. You're a developer. It's a slightly different skill set and a different focus. You know what I mean? So yeah, let that be the first thing. Now let's see. I feel like, what is this? What does the results mean? I don't quite know what this heading is about, and what this is here. Seems to be it's going to send me off to a link. Yeah, just to think more about the information architecture here, I think would help me understand what that is. Cool, so this bit is good. A designer who codes, cool. You got an MBA in finance, that's cool too. Remote for 10 years. Great things, great headings there. Apply like your writing skills to this section here, and it'll help me understand what that means a bit better. Your work. I want to see bigger thumbnails of your work first off, and also I feel like I want to be able to click on the thumbnail too, so I don't know if that helps you. That's just like what I tried to do. Yeah, let's go over and check out the site. So your goal was fixing inconsistencies. I would want to see sites that you actually designed, I guess, because it sounds like this first project in your portfolio, and the first project is also usually the thing that a hiring manager, hiring team will click on. This project, it seems like you didn't actually do the design for the project. And if you're wanting to apply for a job where you're designing websites, which is what most of marketing designers, at least in tech companies, and what it probably would be if you were looking to get onto a team that used Webflow, yeah, it's going to be really important to showcase your design skills. So it looks like you've got a good range of work here, but what I would want to see is, like I said, more work where you did the design of it. Looks like you created the design of this one. Oh yeah, I see that you have tags here, that's good. So if we open up this one, which first of all you should make open in a separate tab so that I don't then like lose your portfolio and lose contact to you. This is looking cool, but it would be better, instead of linking off to the live site as the only way for me to see the project, to instead have like a page on your website with the project where I can like understand what your design process was a little bit, and especially because right now I'm, like I said, because of this language about you being a developer, I'm wondering what involvement you actually had. Did you work on this with a team? I don't know. Just a little bit more detail about the project. Doesn't need to be a written novel or anything like that, but just pointing out a few things about the design and what makes it special, I suppose. Should we do one more review and then go back to regular questions? I don't know. Let me know. You can just like tell me what you want to hear. That's for sure. I'm looking specifically through these requests for ones that are about web or marketing design because, like I said, that is my forte. Remember when you send your portfolios through that you need to tell me what you're looking for as well. Okay, here's one where they've said what they're looking for, so we're going for that. Another review, please. Coming right up for you. Okay, so this is Sarah. She is using Behance for her portfolio. Okay, Sarah says, I'm currently studying a master's degree in editorial design and my portfolio is for finding a job at a studio here in Barcelona or abroad. Shout out to fellow person living in Spain. I've done some internships, but at the end of this year I want to find a job as a junior graphic designer. Cool. So my dream is to work in a little graphic design studio in which I could do both online and offline projects. Great. Okay, so you're applying for a job at a studio. You're going in as a junior. First of all, I'll say that you've done a great job on the thumbnails here. Like, sometimes if there's like hundreds and hundreds of applications, you can't even like spend time reviewing like in detail of a portfolio before moving on to the next stage. We have had job roles at ConvertKit where we've had like literally 700 to 800 applications, and obviously you're going to click through to everybody's site and you have to make a snap judgment as to if this person meets the requirements, and you'd look into it further. And based on this, I would want to look into you further, is my roundabout like long way of saying that. Cool. Graphic and digital designer from Barcelona. Great title there. Integrate simple, elegant, thoughtful work. Let's click into a project. And like I said, I'm going to click on the first one. My main concern with Behance, and I don't know what options there are because I've not really used it myself, but I'm like, what is this? Okay, it says it's a publication. I just want to know more information about it, you know? No, I refuse to accept the cookies, Anton. We're gonna leave that banner there. No, fine. I'll accept it just so that we can have a cleaner screen. There we go. You happy? Happy now? Yeah, I'm like, I want to know more about this project and more about what the goal was with it, because I'm like, yeah, it looks cool, and it seems like to me like it was more of an art piece. I would love to see if this was a printed publication, which the way it's laid out kind of seems to be. How big was it? Like, let me put it in context, even if it's a mock-up of it on a table or something like that. Yeah, just tell me a little bit more about it, because it's not all about looks. I know I'm judging like first and foremost on the visuals. Here we go. There's some writing on this piece, so that's great. That tells me a little bit more. Okay. Cool. See, that helps. Just a little bit of information about what the book is for. This is beautiful. Great photos showing these details here. I'm going to keep scrolling and then see if you give me any information on this. No. Okay, so I want to know, like, okay, tell me about the printing process. Were you involved in the printing of this, choosing the paper or whatever? What decisions did you make there? Anything you can do to tell people, like show people your smarts, basically. Show off your skills and what experience you've had, and that you chose this paper over this paper because of this reason, all those little things. But yeah, I think this looks great, and I love these photos. They're beautifully done, and this work looks really creative too. Sharon says there's a project description at the bottom of the page. Okay, right. Maybe this is a Behance issue then, in that, yeah, it's aimed more at the visuals and less at everything else. So fair enough. But yeah, I think that this looks like really great quality work, Sarah. I'd be interested to know how much of this is student work versus other stuff. But yeah, for a junior job, like first job in the industry sort of thing, we're not expecting you to have a whole lot of client work in it. So it's okay if it's student work, because yeah, looks beautiful. Okay, there's a lot of DMs going on. This is good. Should we keep doing reviews? Yeah, we want to keep doing the review thing, or should we take a quick break and do some other questions? Because I did see some coming through. Let's do a quick review break. Okay, we're going back to this view, and everyone take a shot. No, forget I said that. Okay, back to just a couple of regular questions, and then we'll do some more reviewing if you want me to. I'm enjoying them. I hope you are too. Okay. It doesn't matter very much during hiring if a code or a no-code platform is used for web design. Web design and web development, very different jobs, very different skill sets. Some places will require you to do both. Like I said, when I first started at ConvertKit, I was building the site as well as designing it, but they are different skills. So it doesn't matter if you're applying for a design job and maybe this job description does include HTML and CSS, that sort of thing. I would recommend you have a website that can demonstrate those skills, because that's what you're going to be doing. But for a general web design job, you do not have to have a portfolio that you've coded yourself, for sure. Someone called Vlog Channel says, is an online portfolio a must to get a job? A proper website portfolio, or can I use Behance, etc.? First of all, yes, you must have a portfolio on the internet, not a printed one these days, unless maybe you're working for an advertising agency or something. I don't know much about that. But as we just saw with Sarah's Behance portfolio, there is some limitations when it comes to Behance and these Dribbble, all these types of platforms, in that you don't have as much control over the information and where people are seeing it, because that project description was way at the bottom. You could design a template or a website that fits better with what you're wanting and what the information is you're wanting to get across. That's my thoughts on it anyway. Personally, I would recommend having you can purchase templates. You do not have to code or even design your portfolio yourself if you don't want to. There's templates out there to make a portfolio happen. Squarespace, for example, Webflow has templates. But yeah, I don't know. It's if you feel like you can meet all your needs through Behance, something like that, then that's fine. But you're probably going to get more out of having your own website, because it'll be your hub on the internet, So I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. But I mean, at the end of the day, you've just got to show your work, and so that's what matters. What other questions do we have here? Ooh, Kevin says, how has your design process changed over the years? That's a really interesting question. I feel like my design process has changed constantly with new people that I've worked with. So I always learn something from how other designers on the team work, and sort of absorb that into my own process. Lately, my design process has involved a lot more data than it has perhaps in the past. At ConvertKit especially, we're a very transparent company when it comes to numbers and all of that. All our company financials are on bare metrics. You can see how we're doing each month. But within the company as well, I have easy access to data to see how this is doing and how this is doing. And I found it really helpful to incorporate that into my design and to learn from the data in order to make design decisions. And I feel like in this role, I'm held responsible for metrics as well, which, forces me to think more about the data. So I'm thinking really hard about the conversion rate of our website and looking at, okay, what do people click here to make that happen, over here, and that sort of thing. Whereas perhaps earlier in my career, I wasn't thinking about the data so much. I was just purely going more with my gut. And I've been enjoying having that gut and data balance. Usually, honestly, my gut is still correct, and the thing that I think will win the A/B test does win the A/B test. But it's really good to challenge your assumptions, and especially if you're doing more user interviews and things like that, has been super helpful for my design process. Famke says, what is your favorite thing about being a marketing designer? I I really like marketing design because I feel like it's the perfect mix of all the things I love about design. You can get super arty and creative with it, and there's can be a lot of freedom in marketing design that perhaps there isn't when you're working on a product, and you've got to make sure that every screen you design fits well with the rest of the product. In marketing design, yes, of course, I want to make sure every new page I design fits well within the rest of the website, and that I'm not changing up the brand colors. Can't use purple, for example, when I'm designing a ConvertKit website at work. But there's still much more freedom there, where each project that you do can have its own spin on the brand, and you can get arty and creative, but also on the analytical and data side, like I was just talking about. It just feels like it's a really cool mix of them all. And that's why I love it. I also love being a marketing designer doesn't just mean I'm designing the website. I'm also thinking about the brand and any print stuff, any other digital imagery that goes out to do with our brand. And I just like that, all of that coming together and being in charge of all of that, basically. So that's probably one of my favorite things about it. And Susanna says, do you ever get bored of your work in design? Yeah, I guess I do. I think everyone gets bored of it sometimes, especially when it's a project that just feels like it's been going on forever and you're not excited about it anymore. I don't know. That happens every now and then. It especially has been happening to me lately with this whole coronavirus isolation. I haven't been feeling like myself. And so I had a few weeks where I just wasn't enjoying my work as much, which was really sad because usually I really do like my work a lot. And luckily I feel like I've come out the other side of that now, which is good. But yeah, sometimes I get bored, and what I like to do in that situation is move on to a different project. I'm really, really lucky in my role that, well, of course I have work given to me or requests made from other people in the company. I also have a lot of freedom to control my own workload and what I think I should be working on. So sometimes I'll just shift tracks and work on something else if working on this project feels like jogging through sand or something. Something to do with quicksand, the saying that I'm talking about. I just like to switch things up so that I can feel excited about it. How can I get into marketing design? Okay, so marketing design, first of all, requires web design skills. So that will be your first bet, is to know web design. And I think that's all you would need to apply for a marketing design job, to show that you can do that, to show that you can design the website, and then also think about perhaps how the brand of the website applies to other things as well. What's important to know about marketing design is that you're going to be working with the same brand. So if you are someone who thrives on freelance work, on having new projects where it's okay, clean slate, everything is fresh, none of the colors are the same as the last project we worked on, that sort of thing. You're probably not going to enjoy marketing design, because I've been working now for 3.5 years-ish, nearly, on the same brand. Luckily, we did rebrand halfway through that time, so I had a bit of a shake-up. But yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Personally, I love that. That's one of my favorite things about working in-house. And Rebecca Duncan just said, would you define marketing design as being different from being an in-house designer? Sorry, Rebecca, I don't know why I read out your full name. I think it was just because it was there in the chat. And it depends. Marketing design is quite a tech company term for an in-house designer, because if you're an in-house designer at, I met some people at How Design Live who worked for an optometry company, for example. They didn't do as much web stuff. But marketing design usually involves more web stuff in tech anyway. What was I saying? I was answering a different question in response to that. Oh, how to get into it. That's right. So just showing your web design skills, and just being sure that you do want to work, try working on the same brand. I like it because I get to improve on things that I've done. So I can design a page, and then a few months later I can learn from the data of that, learn from how people have used it, and redesign it. And I really enjoy doing that. Some people just like to start fresh all the time, and that's okay too. It just means that perhaps marketing design isn't going to be right for you. Oh my God, there are so many good questions in here. There's absolutely no way I'm going to get to them all. Ooh, okay, well, Erica says, what's the thing that, why am I not reading this correctly? What's the least thing you like or something you don't like about marketing design? Honestly, I think the thing that I like the least is doing anything but web design, especially now as I'm getting further into my career. I've been working as a design professional now for, I think, about 9 years. Yeah, something like that, if I counted up correctly. And I just feel like I've got a lot of experience now, especially doing web design. And every time I have to do something that is not web design, I'm like, oh man, I just want to be designing a website. Like, that's where I want to be feeding my skills into, you know. So yeah, I would say that all that other stuff is the stuff I don't enjoy so much about my job. But luckily now we work with a contract designer part-time, so I get to hand off a lot of that stuff, and she does like a much better job of it than I would, because she actually enjoys it and like is super talented at that. So that's been really exciting. Okay. Oh, this is a good question from Ben. Ben says, we all know content is supposed to come first when it comes to designing web pages. But how do you deal with friction from content teams who want to design before they start writing content? Okay, I have a good answer for you for this, because I had to work this out over the years. There is a difference between content and copy. You absolutely need content in order to design a page, but you do not need copy in order to start designing. You need to know what kinds of things are going to be talked about on the page so that you can figure out the hierarchy of it, right? And you need to have a good understanding of what that content is and what it might be, so that you can plan for how much space each section might need, for example, on the page. But you can do that without having the exact copy in there. This is how I work with my content team at work. Honestly, sometimes even I'm coming up with the content that should be on the page. I'm doing the research to say, okay, what should go on this feature page? This is everything that I know about our landing pages, and this is everything that I think we'd need to say about it. And then I do the wireframe for the page, pass it on to Danny, who then writes the exact copy to fit with my wireframe. We have a bit of back and forth there too, where sometimes she'll be like, look, it is impossible to explain this concept that you've given 2 sentences to in that small space. I need to have it be like a paragraph block rather than like this little short thing that you've put. And so we have some back and forth there. So yeah, Ben, to answer your question, I think separating content from copy is really key. I hope that made sense, right? Where content is more like the bullet points, the abstract in general, what you'll talk about, and copy is the exact words. Yeah. Time for another drink. Please do not take another shot. Rosa says, what's the most challenging part of your role? What are you excited about? I think the most challenging part of my role is the conversion rates and the data stuff. I'm sorry, this is probably sounding really boring that I keep talking about data, but I just really enjoy seeing what I can do to have an impact on that, to have an impact on the company, on how many signups we're getting and that sort of thing, and knowing that, okay, a thing that I did, like a decision that I made, contributed to us growing in X way. You know, that's really cool. But it's also really challenging because it sometimes feels like, I don't know, you never quite know what a user's going to do and what's going to work until you put it out there. And so that's challenging for sure. I would say that something I'm also really feeling challenged by at the moment is like pushing myself as a designer and getting feedback. Femke and I did an episode of the Design Life podcast about this. I can't remember what episode number it was, but after this ends, I'm going to try and put links to things that I've talked about in the description box. So I'll find it and put a link in there. But yeah, I just feel like I want to be challenged more on my design decisions, and for to get more input from other designers within the company saying I don't think this is the right direction, or maybe we should go like this. Because right now I feel like a lot of the time I just I do something and everyone's like, cool, let's keep moving forward, we trust you. And having that trust is amazing and great, but yeah, I would just like to be pushed a little more. So that is a challenge that I'm working through right now. Okay. I like this question from Mariam, who says, have you ever thought about working as a designer within music, like for a record label or similar? Fun fact, this is actually what got me into design, and why I wanted to be a designer was because I wanted to work on designing album covers and that sort of thing, designing, working on music videos, designing screens for tours and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do. And I didn't make much effort to get into it early in my career, and I sort of fell into doing this whole marketing design thing, which turns out that I love. And I don't know now if my skills and the way they've developed would be best suited to working in the music industry. I don't know, I still have dreams of one day, like I think one freelance project I'd do, because I know I said earlier on that I do not do freelance work anymore. I think that if a band I liked contacted me, wanted me to design their album cover, I would be like, hell yes, let me go and do that. But it's highly unlikely that that would happen, because I'm not putting myself out there as a designer for the music industry or anything like that. But yeah, just a little like design bucket list item for me, I guess. Okay, what are the questions we got? Hugo asked if I've ever worked as a design consultant. I have not. I feel like maybe that'd be something I'd be interested in getting into a bit later in my career. Yeah, I've been approached for roles within a few different companies as like a design educator type of person, like design evangelist or whatever. And I'm sure that's because of my YouTube channel, where I'm like talking about design, obviously. And that would be fun. I would imagine myself going into that rather than consulting in future. But right now, like I said, I'm like enjoying the challenge of like wanting to improve as a designer. And I feel like as soon as I take a step out of that, out of doing the day-to-day, like I'm designing websites work, and move into being a design advocate or educator or whatever, I'll no longer be doing that work. So yeah, there's still a lot more that I want to do there first. Okay. Collins says, how many designers are you in the company and how do you divide the roles? We are not many designers. Actually, just, was it last week? We had 2 new designers join, which took our total from 2 designers to 4. Well, technically 5, because Nathan, our CEO, is a designer as well. But obviously he's got CEO things, as we like to say, to do in the company, so not just designing. I'm the only marketing designer who is full-time on the team. And then the other 3 are product designers, but we also have a contract part-time designer, like I said, who's more of a graphic designer. Who handles graphics and things like that. Yes. What other questions we got? Shall we go do some more portfolio reviews? I don't know, you tell me. Should we do reviews or should we do more other questions? I'll leave the stream to catch up a second while some people answer that. And let me see if there's one more question I can answer in the meantime. By the way, I'm sorry if I've missed any of your questions. I know I've missed a lot, in fact, but feel free to just keep asking them if I haven't asked yet and you still really want to know, because it'll come up. Let's answer this one before we go and do some portfolio stuff. What other areas of design have you dabbled in before you got into marketing design? And I think a while ago when I was scrolling the chat, I saw someone ask what I would do if I wasn't a designer. What other career would I be in? Hold please. So when I started out in university, my goal for my design career, and you're gonna laugh, was to work for a huge advertising agency on advertising things. I wanted to work at Saatchi & Saatchi in particular, because I'd read this book called Love Marks by, I think it was the founder of that. I can't remember his name anymore. And he used to be my role model. Isn't that funny? But yeah, it was a great book that really helped me think about branding and marketing in that way. I wanted to work in advertising. Then in university, I did one advertising paper, friggin' hated it, and was like, I don't want to do this with my life. I switched over to motion graphics then. So I was using After Effects to animate typography and that sort of thing. Then we started learning about the green screen. And I just wasn't the type of design and motion design that I wanted to be doing. So I dropped that as well. There's a trend there, isn't there? And then I sort of switched to print graphic design, which is what I worked in for my first 1.5-ish as a professional designer working in the industry. But I said that, I don't know, I thought that web was where it was going to be at, and I was getting to dabble in some web stuff in that role, but it was mostly designing I don't know if you remember when Facebook apps were a thing, but that's what was my first experience doing digital design really. But I would work a little bit on that and realize that web design was what I wanted to be doing more of. And so I made that switch. So professionally, I've not really dabbled much outside of marketing design, because I was working as a graphic designer on a marketing team in that other company too. But yeah, I love it, and I have no desire to not be a marketing designer right now. Maybe that'll change in future, but yeah, for right now, this is what I'm loving. Ooh, interesting question. Varun says, what are the average pay for a graphic or UI UX designer? If you want to know about the pay for a marketing designer, then you can watch my video that I did about my salary history. I think I uploaded it in January. So, go check out that and you'll see all of the salaries that I've had throughout my whole entire career. Shall we go over to a couple more portfolios? Because I'm having some new things come through. Let's do it. Also, I thought I would stop this after an hour, but I don't know. I feel like we'll keep going just a little bit longer until my voice holds out. I don't normally talk this much because, working from home problems. We're going to switch over to the screen sharing thing again. Let's see if this works again. Boom, there we go. So this is Joy's portfolio, and Joy wants to be a marketing / brand designer for tech/web. Great, I am definitely the person to be giving you advice on that because that is exactly what I do. Okay, right now Joy works as a graphic designer for a restaurant company, and so doesn't know how to write the case studies for the landing page for the role that you want since the experience doesn't match. Ooh, good question. Been learning Webflow and Figma and have thought about mocking up websites for the restaurants that I've worked for. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's see. So I'm imagining that Joy has applied for a role as a marketing or web designer. This is cool. Like, this is a great introduction. This sort of shows me straight off that you have skills outside of static design. So that's cool. Well, just like the advice I gave to, was it Rahita? I can't remember who had this in their portfolio, but if you're looking to get into marketing design, then definitely change this up and be like, I'm a web designer and I specialize in marketing for tech companies. Like, that's okay. That's what the work you want to be doing is. So just like we talked about, I think it was with Sarah's portfolio, great thumbnails. This one is interesting to me because I'm like, this feels like it doesn't quite fit in, which kind of makes me want to click on it. And it looks like it's like a illustration work. Okay. I would probably not include this in your portfolio. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's absolutely stunning, but it's not the type of work that you want to be doing, right? So yeah. Unless you are looking for a company that would want you to be doing super hyper realistic, is that the word for it? Illustrations, but yeah, that would be my thought. This I would click on because it looks like it's more digital design, although when I click into it, I see that it's actually a Facebook page. But yeah, just that's how you can see how my brain is working, right? That I went straight to the digital thing. Yeah, it looks like you've got a great eye for graphic design. I think that mocking up some websites, what would a digital version of this menu look like? That could be a really interesting thing to tackle, and would allow you to have that work in there. Yeah, same with this. What would a digital version of this menu look like? Like, say if someone was going to order online, think through that. And it's okay that it's not a real project. Just like we talked about before with the Uber case study, be upfront about it and tell us that, okay, this was the client work, but the website part wasn't. You just wanted to tackle that, and that's cool. Yeah, I would say that would be my advice to you, Joy, and also, I think that this is going to be a really exciting shift for you, and that maybe I'm biased in saying this because I feel like my print design experience has been a huge asset to me as a web designer, but I think you'll find that it's the same thing to you. You've got obviously a great style, and you can do a bunch of different styles and things like that. Great eye for graphic design, and all of that is just going to make your web design work all the more special. So yeah, keep at it, and definitely try for that. What have we got now? We have Ryan. Did Ryan say, okay? I don't know if this is going to be super realistic for me to review, Ryan, because it looks like you're not a designer, but should we do it anyway? Let's do it anyway. Okay, well, this is never a fun thing to see. You've said that you're looking for, you're a creator, writer, and editor, and you're wanting to pursue digital media as a career. I'm not quite sure what that involves. Do you mean social media, that sort of thing? I don't know. Yeah, but I would say that if you're applying for a design job, then seeing this Wix banner isn't a good look. It just, I don't know, just feels a little bit tacky in a way. I also think it's kind of hard to read what these buttons say, because the color contrast isn't quite enough, and the background is so colorful compared, you know, like this super colorful intro line heading. My brain is dying after this 1 hour of talking to you all. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to put up with that. Yeah, it just needs, okay, you've said marketing design or web design is what you want to go for. This needs an extra layer of polish. This, unfortunately, isn't something that would get through that like initial review, like I said, because I look at this and I see, okay, you don't have an understanding of color contrast and what makes for readable text on a web page. Because this is hard to read with the drop shadow and the colors like blending into the background, if that makes sense. There's just not enough contrast there. There's also a lot of mix of fonts going on. So we've got this one, then we've got this one that looks more like a handwriting font. I would probably put like this font you've used here for the heading instead, and make the heading probably like white on a color block background perhaps, to let, if you wanted to keep this background, to let the background, colors speak for itself. So yeah, that would be my advice to you, is just to look for an extra level of polish here. And yeah, that's really going to help going forward. Also, if you're looking to get work, I think I would want to see some screenshots of your work on the page too. So yeah, that would be a good thing to add. That would be my advice there. What next? Okay, we're going to do one more portfolio and then we'll go over to questions again, and I'll how about we do another one another time that is just portfolio time, because this is really fun to be doing these. Okay, so this is, I'm going to try to pronounce your name, Elvis Rawi. Maybe I said that right, I don't know. And you are looking for, you're a packaging and branding designer. Okay. So great thumbnails, first of all, like especially this mock-up here, looks really cool, looks super impressive. I'll click into this. Nice how you've got some text there. So this is possible in Behance. Cool, there we go. Maybe that's a thing that Sarah could look to do, to add project descriptions further up the page. See how I'm just scrolling and like seeing, I'm not reading the content again, I'm just like seeing what you've chosen to show me. These mock-ups are super professional looking, like this is really well done. Much more interesting to show me like this is a mock-up than a flat, like, you know, spread out image of this whole label from your design file. It's good that you took the time to do that and to be showing things in this way. Yeah, I think that's great. I am not a packaging designer, so I don't know like what the requirements are in that industry, but yeah, this is looking good to me. This feels like it's definitely more of a brand thing. Okay, interesting. Yeah, showing the different options. I feel like sometimes with brand portfolios, people can go too far in the showing the like use cases of the brand rather than like the detail of the brand itself. But I feel like you've done well. Oh, okay, this is the different, I don't know if this is necessary. No, actually, I'm going to take it back. I think that's good. You've shown how your brand is a system that applies to all the, what I assume the different like parts of the brand, like, you know, the different sub-brands. Is that the word? Yeah. It would be cool to see more of your process in here though. Like, yeah, how did you decide on this, and like point out, I can look at it and see, okay, you've simplified the rainbow, etc. But it would show me a lot about your process and like give me faith in you as a designer if you could point out the things that, the decisions that you made about it, you know, so that tells me that you know why this works, and that I can have faith that you'd be able to apply that design thinking to other things, you know, because sometimes in design we end up on something and we're like, okay, this feels right, but we can't quite put our finger on why. And that's why, yeah, this is important. So talking about things like why you chose to have this thicker font instead of this thinner one. Obviously for me, I'm like, yeah, of course this makes more sense. It'd be more legible at smaller sizes, etc. And yeah, the color selection and things like that. But point all that out to me is always good. Okay, well, let's stop with the portfolios for now and go back to a couple more questions. What have we got? Any last questions that we have before we should end off the stream? have I read any good books? I've read loads of good books. A recent one, well, it's not even that recent that I read it, but Atomic Habits by James Clear, amazing book, like just super, super great book, highly recommend. Burnout, cannot remember the name of the authors, but it was like two sisters, and it's mostly about stress for women in particular, and that was like a game changer book for me as well. Would highly recommend that. Those are two that come to mind lately. Do I feel like my degree boosted my opportunities as a designer? I'm going to say yes, because it gave me work to show when I went into an interview. It gave me projects that I'd worked on and that I'd had critiqued as well, because that I think can be the challenge when you're learning by yourself, and something that I personally wouldn't know how to get around is that you do something and that's not the end, right? You need someone to take a look at it with fresh eyes and critique it. Someone who understands the context of the brief that you're looking at. That was the most helpful part of university for me, was the critiques in classes. It got us used to having like a thick skin when people didn't like your work or whatever, and used to taking that feedback on and making changes based on it. So I would say that in that way, the degree has most helped my career as a designer. Okay. You've mentioned that you've taken some online courses and won an award from your work, lol. Any you enjoyed and would recommend? The award was a very different thing from the online courses, so I don't know why they're together. That's funny. Yes. What online courses would I recommend? Treehouse has been a great one for me. I think I did a video about online courses that I've taken. I did a lettering class by Sean McCabe that I don't think is unfortunately available anymore to the general public, but that included a great module on pricing and licensing your work, and that taught me a lot from when I was doing freelancing. That was really cool. I know that, if I was wanting to take a course these days, if I was especially wanting to get more into product design, Matt D. Smith, MDS, if you follow him on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, is doing a course called Shift Nudge, which looks like it's going to be a great design course. So haven't taken it myself, but I think I would highly recommend it, just knowing what I know about him as a designer. Okay, what else? What is the most common problem you encounter working with other designers, engineers, or PMs? Don't work with PMs because I'm not a product designer. Just work with my developer, Corey. And I would say, is Corey still on the stream? I think I saw him before, but our main issue is when I I guess forget to detail things. I think I'm really lucky with Corey that he is a developer with a good eye for design. But in the past, that has been my main issue, is that I would design something, hand it off to a developer, and what I get back, I'd be like, what? How did you get this from that? That doesn't make any sense. That was my main issue, was the details and having to have so much back and forth like that. With Corey, there is so much less than any other developer I've ever had in my life. But it's just always going to be a thing with working with anyone who's not a designer, that you see things very differently to everyone else. I don't think we realize that so much as designers, that we look at something and we're like, that is completely wrong. It's this looks terrible. When really it's just that the spacing is slightly off, because we have very sensitive, delicate eyes apparently, in that way. So that's the main issue is, it's not even an issue. I feel like it's expected when you're working with anyone, working with any developer or a non-designer. Hi Ben. Ben is my workmate at ConvertKit. He's just tuned in. That's cool. Recommendations on how to get peer feedback on your designs when working as a solo freelancer. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that, Elaine, because I'm not a solo freelancer, but definitely developing this is why your network is important, and why networking with other designers is so valuable for your career. And you shouldn't go into that expecting just to get from them, you'll be expected to give as well. So I just want to give a plug here for the Design Life community, is a place where there's a bunch of designers all together and people share their work for feedback a bunch of the time. That's at patreon.com/designlife. That's our podcast and the community attached to it. Kevin says, how much does Corey tweak your designs in implementation? It depends. It depends on my design and like how complicated I've been. We have really great communication throughout the process where if there's something that I think is tricky, and this is where I think my code knowledge really comes in handy. If there's something that I'm like, oh, I don't know how I would build this, so that probably means it's going to be a little bit complicated because I can really only code simple things. So yeah, I'm going to talk to him about it now and see if he thinks that this is even possible, if this is going to be worth the time, to do, because everything's possible. It's just that some things take a lot of time. So we have those conversations during the process, so there's not usually a lot of things that have to change, but sometimes there is, and we tackle them as we go. Do I do redlining, prototyping, and include spec sheets? I do not. I think that is a waste of time, especially with tools like Figma, where it's so easy just to measure something. Also, I'm not incredibly pixel perfect when it comes to designing. And so I just, like Corey knows, working with me, he's like, I'll just round up that this says 82 pixels, but I'm just going to put 80 pixels of space. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And if it does matter, I'll call it out in a review. I just think that, I don't know, just redlining and all that sort of thing just takes up so much time that you could be spending designing the actual thing, So if you use a software that has that in place, then yeah. Okay. What else we got? How do I get feedback from an engineer if something is not feasible or will take a lot of time? It's just a conversation for us, and I just always make sure to let him know that I'm open to anything and like open to changing anything because he's the expert when it comes to coding. And so if he knows something is going to take a while and he knows like our deadline that we're on, or like, when we're expected to launch this thing, he'll call it out as a potential issue. Okay, what else? Let's take a couple more questions and then we're going to end because my voice is going to run out of steam. Any fun ones? Like any, I don't know. They've all been fun, haven't they? Because I'm a fucking nerd. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear on the stream. I'm a huge nerd. There we go. That's a better way of saying it. But yeah, anything particularly you want to know about me or anything like that before we sign off? I don't know. Let's do a couple of those to end. That'd be really fun. My favorite color. I'm going to give you one guess what my favorite color is, because you should surely be able to get it by then. Love me some purple, particularly this like pinky purple that my hair is right now. Which of my journey is more exciting, working as a designer at ConvertKit or being a YouTuber? Honestly, both. I don't think I could imagine my life without either of them. I think without my job at ConvertKit, I would be missing out on designing, being part of a team. And without my YouTube channel, I would be missing out on the teaching side of things and this connection, that sort of thing I really love. So yeah, both of them come together. How's my Animal Crossing island? It's doing great. My hot item today is a woodblock table, so I made a bunch of them to get some bells earlier. That will make no sense if you're not playing Animal Crossing. Can I do a front flip? Nope, cannot do a front flip. What am I listening to these days? Just a lot of pop punk, always, constantly. Rematch is a band that I recently came across on Spotify and I'm really liking, so yep, check them out. Sabrina, I'm not going to play a tune for you on the piano right now because I feel like I'll get stage fright and really screw it up, but I did play a bit in my latest vlog, so I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, it's pretty much the only tune I can play right now. London or Valencia? Oh, that's a hard question. I love them both. Valencia for the lifestyle for sure, but London for the access to everything and the food and all that and everything else. Yeah. What sports do? I do not do sports. I'm not a very sporty person. I attempt to skateboard. That's about as sports as I get. Yeah. I'm going to pick out one more question to answer here. Let's end on this one. What has been one of your favorite personal projects? Honestly, this YouTube channel I consider a personal project still, and it's definitely my favorite. The other day I uploaded a new channel trailer. I don't know if you saw that, but when I uploaded that, I went back and watched some of my first channel trailers, and it was just amazing to see me 6 years ago and to know how much has changed since then, how far I've come since then, just in life in general. I don't know. I think it's just really cool that I have so much of my 20s in particular documented, and I'm excited to keep going with this, to be documenting my 30s too. I think it's just really fun to be, cataloging my design career in particular. Yeah. We're going to end the stream here, but thank you so much for joining. I was honestly afraid that no one was going to show up. Well, like I said, that I wasn't going to get any questions, but now we have like too many questions and I'm like feeling bad that I can't answer them, but you can probably hear that my voice is really fading. And so I'm going to have to stop, answering them now. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. Please let me know if I should do this again by like giving the video a thumbs up, letting me know in a comment on the video once the replay's up, or just here in the chat. Yeah, I've really, really enjoyed talking to you all and feeling this bit of connection during this social isolation time. So thank you for being here. All right, I'm gonna head off now and eat my dinner, I guess, because it is 7:15 here in Spain and the light is fading. So let's go do that. Hope you have a really good day, all of you, and I hope that I'll see you in the next stream that I do. Bye.